Okay, today we're going to talk about coffee. Is it good? Is it not good? Does it break a fast? We should probably talk about that. And why would you drink it? Like, other than it wakes you up and gives you, it's a great taste in the morning, why would you drink it? And so there are three major reasons that coffee actually improves your health. So in this video, I'm going to talk about these three reasons, and I'm going to talk about like how much, and what about decaf, and then we'll talk a little bit, just a little bit, about if you should have it in your fasting window. So let's dive in. First, I gotta put by the way, this is my favorite coffee mug. Literally, this is my morning coffee mug. Friend gave it to me, and I just want you to know that it says, "Don't be a lady, be a legend." It's a quote by Stevie Nicks. And so I drink every morning from that to remind myself that ladies follow the rules and legends make the rules. So let's all make the rules. Here we go. So the first reason that you want to drink coffee is for longevity. And really the reason behind this is twofold. Is one, because it has so many antioxidants in it. And if you're not familiar with what an antioxidant is, I think antioxidant is like one of those words that we just toss around, like, and everybody goes, "Oh yeah, antioxidant, antioxidant," but we don't really know what it means. So I want to take us back to our cells and really think about our cells for a second. Because when a toxin or a bad oil or stress hits a cell, the cell will inflame. And when the cell inflames, the cellular parts start to degenerate. And so what an antioxidant does, it comes in and it repairs that cell. It brings the inflammation down. It starts to repair the damaged cellular parts. So they're very, very helpful. And you get antioxidants in most of the foods that are coming from nature. And coffee comes from nature. It's a coffee bean. So one of the really interesting parts of drinking it 1 to 2, by the way, 1 to 2 cups of coffee in the morning is that you're getting an antioxidant burst that actually will bring inflammation down in your body and will stop the destruction of the cells from poor living. Now, I do want to talk a little bit at this moment about what type of coffee. I'm going to take a little side turn here because it's important to know that anytime I'm referring to coffee, I'm assuming that you all are drinking clean coffee, meaning it doesn't have any pesticides in it. If you can find coffee without mold, it's even better. So I always look for organic, sustainable coffee. That's what we buy here in my house. It's also what I take with me on the road. I'll leave in the notes some of my links to some of my favorite coffees. So just make sure this isn't running down to your favorite coffee franchise store every morning. This is what I'm talking about is clean coffee, okay? And that's what's going to have that anti-inflammatory effect. The other reason that it improves longevity is because it's so rich in polyphenols. So we've talked a lot about polyphenols here on my channel. I talk about it in my books because polyphenols are pivotal for feeding your microbiome. And hopefully you already know that the microbiome is what supports your immune system. It gives you serotonin. It helps with brain clarity. Helps break down hormones. Your microbiome is really important, and making sure that you increase the polyphenol foods in your life will help with better microbiome repair. In fact, I found some really interesting studies on just the longevity piece of this, and one of them that was really interesting to me, and I hadn't quite wrapped my head around this until I researched it for this video, is that coffee has 24 different polyphenols in them. So think of it like I talk to you guys a lot about how do we eat for diversity so we get more nutrients. Well, just 1 cup of coffee is going to have this vast array of these polyphenols that support great microbial health. So big fan of it for that. Now, some of the studies on this that are really interesting that I just want to point out is, well, for starters, I have a list of 5 different studies that show that, and they were large-scale studies, show that coffee drinkers live significantly longer even when they take into account things like diet, exercise, and genetics. So that's really interesting that we can do one habit like that and it can have such an impact on our longevity. And the people that they studied all did different diets, had different genetics, did different types of exercise, and they all got the same result, which is really cool. The other thing that I want to point out for my fasting hounds is that coffee, there are several studies showing that coffee actually decreases mTOR. So mTOR is kind of interesting because, remember, we have autophagy. Autophagy is where the cells start to clean themselves up and become a better cell. And mTOR is where we start to grow, the cells grow stronger. So when we're eating all day long, we're never dipping into a fasted state. We're just staying in this mTOR, state of mTOR. And that is the fastest way to accelerate aging, which is why fasting has this longevity piece to it. So what we want, one of the double stacks is that you have your cup of coffee in a fasted state. Those of you that are trying to get an autophagy effect, where you're really getting rid of the cellular parts that are damaged, coffee enhances that and it decreases mTOR. And mTOR and autophagy are very much like metabolic switching, sugar burner, fat burner, and they're just very much switching in and out of two different opposing states. So this is why I love and I support coffee in the morning if you're in your fasting window during that time. The other thing about coffee, the good news does not end there, is that it strongly encourages the development of stem cells. So a lot of you go on these long fasts because you want stem cells. Well, a debate, I'm going to throw this out there. I don't want to confuse you, but a debate that often happens in my community is when I go on a 3-day water fast, which is one of those fasts you go on to be able to get more stem cells, could I drink coffee? Because if I could just drink black coffee, I could probably manage a 3-day water fast. And I would say, based off of this 2018 study and what I've seen and what I've experienced, is if it's clean coffee and you're drinking it on a 3-day water fast that's giving you stem cells, you've now actually double stacked. You have the coffee giving you stem cells, you have the longer fast giving you stem cells. Just like when you go into the state of autophagy, you've got the fasting stimulating autophagy, and you have the coffee suppressing mTOR, which is also stimulating autophagy. So can you see how it's like a double stack? So, and that's all just in longevity. I have 2 more reasons for you why you might want to drink coffee. So the second one, this is what you're all going to love this, is because research is showing that coffee actually helps you lose weight. Okay, let's unpack this one for a hot moment. So let's start with a very current study. It was a 2023 study. That's recent. And it had over 1,400 overweight people in it. And what they found is that people who drank a moderate amount of coffee, 1 cup a day for 3 years, they had them track their body fat percentages. And what they found is 1 cup of coffee a day caused people to lose significantly more body fat than those who drank no coffee at all. That was based off of research. There also was another meta-analysis. So go back. I just did a whole video on how you know what type of research study something is. And a meta-analysis is when we are looking at lots of different studies together. And this was a 2019 meta-analysis showed that 12 different studies that people who drank 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day, that habit was linked to significant fat loss. Again, we're back seeing the science pointing really favorably to more coffee. Now, the last one I want to talk about is that there is a peptide, something called peptide YY, which is a satiety hormone. So it's basically when peptide YY comes in, it kills your hunger. And so this 2012 study showed that when you drank coffee, that it stimulated this peptide YY. And it killed hunger. So this is why the cup of coffee, the clean cup of coffee, is like the faster's best friend. And to have it in your fasting window really makes sense. Okay, I got to interrupt this video because I have a free guide for you so you can master fasting. It's called A Beginner's Guide to a Fasting Lifestyle. And all you've got to do is click here and you can jump right in. Okay, last reason. So I hope you're excited. Put in the notes if you're like, whoa. I mean, some of you are going to be like, wait a second, I gave up coffee. Do I need to bring it back? We'll talk about that at the end of this video. But so far, I think there's some pretty good science here showing why we would want to stay on a moderate cup of coffee if it was clean. Okay, the last one is on liver health. And this is really important because, you need your liver not only for detoxing, but your liver, when you switch your metabolism over into this fat burning place, it's your liver that's going to orchestrate fat burning. So our liver makes cholesterol, our liver detoxes us, and our liver burns fat. And what coffee does for your liver is that 1 to 2 cups a day, again, a 2021 review showed that it decreased the risk of fatty liver disease. And another study went on to show that the reason it does that is because it balances the liver enzymes. This is the enzymes that your liver is producing. And your enzymes, what's interesting is your enzymes are actually being measured on your blood work every year. So if you've ever had your doctor say, ooh, your liver enzymes are up, it would be interesting to bring, and I'll link this study here, to bring this study to your doctor and to say, well, okay, what about a clean cup of coffee every morning? Could that improve the production and balance of my liver enzymes? This review that I'm talking about, this 2017 review, even went on to say that coffee decreases your risk of developing liver fibrosis. So, and liver cancer was another one. So, I mean, basically, coffee is a health tool when used right. So this is not your franchisee coffee that you're going to find on every single street corner. This is your organic coffee from sustainable forests that have taken the time to make a really good nutrient come out of the earth. Now, so make sure, please. And then I should probably point this out, that we've got to think about what you put in your coffee. So if you take this clean cup of coffee and you put a toxic creamer in it, that's not a health food. I'm a big fan of MCT oil in my coffee. I'm a big fan of raw cream in my coffee because raw cream has enzymes and probiotics. So I've done a lot of studies on coffee. So feel free to go. I'm sure my team will link these different studies in. Okay, I want to point out there was one in here that I wanted to point out about decaf because there was one thing that showed, it was under weight loss. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm just going to play with you for a minute here. So you tell me how this feels. But when we go into these fasted states, and remember that you're looking when you're building a fasting lifestyle, you're looking at having periods where you've got this compressed eating window, and then you have periods where you have this longer fasting window. And when we really elongate out our longer fasting window, like let me throw out the 36-hour fast to you all. I wrote about it in Fast Like a Girl that the 36-hour fast the research showed it was an incredible tool for unsticking that stubborn weight situation that some of you are finding yourself in. Well, what the research is showing is that you can actually lose weight or kill that hunger hormone, accelerate weight loss with coffee, and it is regardless of the caffeine content. So this is interesting. If you're going to try, and you guys try it and report back to me. I've never really publicly said this before, so you're hearing it now for the first time, which is what if you go on a 36-hour fast? You have your caffeinated coffee in the morning with no cream. You can put some MCT oil in it. And then maybe in the afternoon you have a decaf coffee. And so, again, we're double stacking. We're putting in this clean nutrient. We don't have the added caffeine, so it's not going to keep you up at night. And you're getting the peptide YY, killing the hunger. And you're using that to be able to elongate your fast. So just something I thought of right now as I'm talking to you all. So you try it, you tell me how that works for you. But I think there's some really good reason to think about coffee as a regular tool in our life. I would say where coffee falls short is when we're going 5-6 cups a day, when we're incredibly adrenal fatigued. Some women, when they're going through menopause, become very sensitive to coffee. So again, always be your own N of 1. But I think there's more pointing towards the pro side of coffee than the con side. So as always, I hope that helps. And if you've had any great results, like with weight loss or changes on your blood work with liver enzymes, or you're noticing inflammation in your joints going away or anything like that because of drinking coffee, I'd love to hear about them. Put them in the notes. But as always, keep educating yourself. You are powerful when you know how to make this thing work amazingly. So I'm super excited to bring this information to you, and don't give up on yourself, because you are your best healer. You are your best doctor. And what I'm trying to do here on YouTube is give you the information and the education so that you can really own that. So hope that helps. I know you're struggling to lose weight. It may be your fasting length. So in this video, I'm going to show you the perfect fasting length to unstick weight loss. In fact, it's such an incredible tool for weight loss. I think you should start with fasting before you change your food to be able to get into that door in for losing weight.